Live. Welcome to Uncoachable, a podcast for parents and coaches by parents and coaches. I'm Coach Patrick. That's Coach Lance.
What's up?
That's Coach Logan.
Hello.
And we are coming to you live from the TBK Betplex out in beautiful Bettendorf, Iowa. Here with the tournament director. You know him as JP, John Pieritz. John, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Just
Thanks for coming on, man.
One man can go by two initials and everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah. I made the name up on a fly. What are we going to call this thing?
JP Sports.
Yeah. I was like, it's never going to get that big anyway. Now I'm like, man, I'm kind of an idiot for naming it that, but whatever.
At least it rolls.
Yeah,
it works. Like, for me, it'd be like, LK Sports. Nope, doesn't work. See?
It's like, I was like, yeah. Looking back, I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But, oh well.
It is what it is.
I don't mind the name.
No, I don't mind it either.
I just just play. That's fine.
Just play. Great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
if you think that's what it is, that's what it is.
That's what we're going with. Yeah, that's what we tell people. Yeah.
So we have a little bit of some heartbreaking news to start this episode off with, and I apologize to start it off this way, but Joe Boo died this morning.
Not this morning.
Coach, well, this afternoon, I guess.
Not even this afternoon. The one time I bring him to
to a
remote, I drop him.
Coach Lance dropped him, and he is
literally in three pieces.
He's in stitches right now. So R.I.P. Joe Boo. We'll try to get him glued back together.
Yeah, too much rum.
Or get a new one. So so we can't even introduce Joe Boo. He lost his
head. He's in three pieces over there.
Slaying on the table. Just.
I think his hair's the only thing holding him still.
It is.
Can you imagine if somebody walked in this room right now and looked over the table? What is that? All right, so we're out here at this beautiful complex, and it makes my heart just smile. Baseball's
here, man.
Baseball is here, and it'll be 60 next week. One thing that we talked about before that I really wanted to get into, we talked about this before we recorded with John, and that's about kids not loving the game anymore. And that to me is why we started this. And why don't kids love the game anymore? Because parents make it about winning, and coaches make it about screaming at the boys.
Oh, but come on. Screaming at the boys is the funnest part about coaching.
I like threatening them, but I don't.
Fair enough. You know, that is a better tactic.
Put the fear of God in them. Yes, you know.
So we were talking just outside, obviously, watching a little bit about it, and it's something that I've had to take a step back on. You've had to take a step back on, just because we have gotten too intense because we came in with expectations as coaches, and we've been too intense with the kids, and it's made the learning environment less fun. You're absolutely right.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the hardest thing to handle.
So I've been doing this for a long time, and you know how I got involved with all this, and how I kind of grew into the game. I mean, it all started. I played, and then I got done playing. I started umpiring, and then I started coordinating umpires, and I was around tournaments every weekend. I was like, hey, we run a tournament. I ran a tournament, and I've seen the evolution of baseball and how the game has changed. I mean, I'm 34 now, and I've been doing this since I was 15, so almost 20 years, and it's it doesn't feel like that long, but it's changed a lot, and there's baseball's exploded. And back in the day when I was in high school, it was travel softball's so big here, and now it's people don't realize how big baseball is. And I mean, even just to put that in perspective, I mean, as we're sitting here, you're looking out the windows here. There's 2 games going on the soccer field, and when they built TBK Bank Sports Complex, never in their wildest dreams they think baseball would be played indoors here. And now we have 2 games going. I mean, we have tournaments, and I mean, this place is packed with baseball and all that great stuff. But baseball is so big, and softball is so big that the game has changed, and it's changed a lot. And looking back when I played, it used to be about I don't remember. I played Hitman when they first expanded, and and that was really one of the only travel teams. I mean, they had the Mavericks and all that stuff, but before it is what it is now.
Was there two or three?
There was like, I remember
maybe?
like to play a doubleheader, you had to go to Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
And now if you go to Cedar Rapids to play a doubleheader, you're looked at as a clown because you could have played 100 teams in the Quad Cities.
Right.
So to play a tournament, we had to go to like Omaha or Kansas City. The game has changed. And the problem today, in my opinion, as a guy that, from the perspective I sit in, is the game's not fun for kids anymore. And the reason it's not fun, well, and that's kind of a broad general statement. Coaches don't make it fun. They don't give the kids an opportunity to fall in love with the game of baseball, and that's where for me it's like it's disheartening, and it's like that's why we try to do a lot of the fun things we do. And for me, it's about giving the kids a platform to fall in love with the game. I love baseball. I love the game. I love what baseball's done for me. I love what it's done for my family. I love what it's looking back on my childhood, it wouldn't have been what it was if I didn't have baseball. I mean, I lost my dad when I was a freshman in high school, and some of the things I remember is, traveling to, my dad had a beat-up pickup truck, and you guys remember, like, the old Eagles grocery stores?
Yeah.
They're like the pharmacy, they had, like, these magnets they'd give you every time you got a prescription. And my dad had them all, like, on the top of, like, this beat-up truck, and, like, he would, like, I think how he'd give you to shut up. He's like, hey, count those, and, like, we'd be going to a ball game, and, like, we'd have a doubleheader in Cedar Rapids. He's like, hey, count all those magnets, and you get to like 40 and he'd swerve or something. And that's the things you remember is like going to the ball games, memories like that, and like the bond I created with my dad, and like the bond I had with my teammates, and just like I don't remember what the scores were. And I come out of like a tournament director's, I'm thinking of Hitman. I come out of the tournament director's shed there, and I see some coaches unloading on a kid, and it's like, for what? Why? Because he swung at a 3-0 pitch, and it was he took a good cut. He hit the ball hard. What more could you ask for?
Right.
He's 10. I mean, it's the kid's not. You're scaring the kid to they're not going to like the game. They're not going to love it. And these guys have an opportunity to let kids fall in love with the game that all of us probably fell in love with at some point. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it.
Yep.
And
you're right.
And it's sad. I mean, it just sucks.
And we have a knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, well, our kids are inside playing video games. They don't want to be out here because they want to be inside playing video games. Well, if as coaches we made them fall in love with the game of baseball, they would be doing what we did, being outside. I remember I was stuck inside. I got bit on my eye by a spider, and my eye was just swollen shut. I finally convinced my mom to let me go outside for a half an hour. That was all she gave me. I went outside. I took my baseball glove and my baseball, and I threw it up. It hit the telephone wire, came back, hit me in the other eye. That's what we did. I mean, we were outside all day playing baseball.
Baseball, basketball, football. You just
you used to hop on the bicycle, go down in the park, and throw together a little scrimmage game if you could with whoever was there.
If you had kids in your
maybe
neighborhood,
put some baseball cards in your spokes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As long as it was like a Gary Gaetti.
I use dare cards. I use the dare cards. That's what
Oh, we can't sacrifice one of the baseball cards.
Not a baseball card.
I was not wasting, I was not wasting a baseball card on that.
Dare worked. Dare worked for a lot of us. Sure. But and we want to blame it on video games, but we're not quick to blame it on coaches screaming at their kids or not going out of their way to make sure this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to get out when we're up in the count 3-0. We're supposed to boot a ground ball and learn from that.
I mean, how many of these kids look forward to the drive home? It's not just coaches; it's parents too. I mean, like I reference the memories of my dad. I mean, looking at I look forward to those drives. I mean, looking back on it when I was a kid, I probably didn't realize what it was at that point in time in my life. But a lot of these kids probably don't look forward to the ride home with dad because dad's going to be in their ear. Oh, you could have did this, you could have done that, and they don't want to talk about that.
So
they know when a ground ball they boot one, they know they screwed up.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It does no good to tell even 11, 12, 13. It doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter the age. Even could you imagine if you see Javier Baez boot a ground ball and Joe Madden goes out and he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Why'd you miss that? You missed a ground ball, dude." What?
Yeah. I mean, screaming at him
from the dugout. I mean, you don't see you don't see
go and pull him off the field,
right? And you brought up the drive home. My son won't ride home with me. if my wife's there, will not do it because he says he wants to ride home with his younger brothers. But no, the true story is he doesn't want to talk about the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't blame him. And I tried not to talk about the game. And then I'll be sitting in the car. The reason we started is because we would sit 2 hours after a ball game talking about it. My wife's like, "Get your ass home."
I want to talk. I want to talk about the game. I got to flush some things out.
Yeah.
After the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the kids don't.
The kids don't.
The kids
They don't
don't.
have to.
Right.
All it's going to do is make them look back at where they weren't successful. And what we should be doing is
That's
focus
a hell of a
on
point.
what makes them successful.
Right.
Because that's going to be like, you know what? The positive reinforcement from that is going to be like, oh, wow, I did something right.
Mm-hmm.
I did that's fun. I like that. Thanks, Dad. And they don't see it at these ages, nor will they. But it's that whole perspective, and it's things like that that make kids not really enjoy what they're doing. And like they put the negative remarks, negative feedback from coaches, parents, and that mindset. They're like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I think that's what part of the root cause is why kids aren't as passionate about the game today as they might have been before. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't every kid. I mean, you look at a ball club, I mean, probably 4 or 5, absolutely love the game. You probably have, 2 of them that rather be, picking flowers out in the outfield or kicking dirt, digging a hole. And then you have and then you have probably like 4 or 5 that just, they don't care. But, I mean, I think those numbers could be skewed. And I think back in the day it was more of the team. You had 8 kids that loved the game, 9 kids that loved the game. You had 2 kids that were picking daisies in, right field.
We're there because their mom drug them there. And
Yeah. And you are absolutely. So my thought on it, I immediately went to video games, because I struggle with that with my son. But I think you're right. I think it's not necessarily that they're doing that because Kellen chose to play outside all day today because it was beautiful out. It's more, I think part of it is, are they playing too much? Being forced to practice too much? Being forced to play too much? Is that a potential thing here too? Because I remember I would play it all day long.
I don't know if they're forced. I think it's not fun. We're not finding ways to make it fun for the kids.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, and that's kind of like getting into like I don't want to talk about like what I do at JP Sports and all that, but like
that's why we brought you on, man.
I know, but I don't want it to be just about that. But like that's when we talk about like this All-Star Weekend thing that we do. Mm-hmm. And when I tell guys, hey, we're gonna do this, and they're like, you're nuts. It's never gonna work. It's you're out of your mind. It's And my thing is, how can we make it fun for the kids? I want them because all year long these kids get yelled at, berated by coaches, parents. I want them to come somewhere to celebrate the season, celebrate the successes. And like I said, I've got to get emails after All-Star Weekend. I don't know how this kid got an MVP tag. And it's my response to them is, it doesn't matter. Somebody saw something in them, and hopefully they love the game of baseball a little bit more because of it. And I want them to come to that experience, that event, that experience, and it's about making the game fun. Yeah, well, and that's what it's about, because that's usually the last part of the season for them, and I want them something to look forward to the next season to get them to come back and fall in love with the game.
So I'll be honest, as a head coach, as a coach, the MVP thing.
Oh, you hate him.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, you probably hate him.
I can't stand him.
A lot of people hate him, and that's all right.
But the way you explained it makes me like them.
Have you seen?
I agree.
There's a thing on YouTube that I had the guys from Tournament Guy come up last year. We get to Tournament Guy. They're huge on Facebook. They have like 100,000 followers. Spiker's awesome guy. I had them come up and actually just like do like a video shoot of the event last year, and we did it here at TBK. And I was like, I want you to just take this in and just shoot it, and he's like, and we were talking about the whole process. We actually sat in the parking lot. He came up like Thursday night. We sat in the parking lot till like 3:30 in the morning. And we're like literally just talking about like what we do, and because he does baseball for a living. It's what he does. He he knows this baseball's a big part of my life. It's what I do, and we were just talking about it. He's like, you're onto something here, and it's. My guys are like, you're nuts. You spend a lot of money. We give a lot of things away, and we try to make it an experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And like I get people, I get guys that I know and respect that are like, how'd that kid get one? He sucks. And I'm like, dude, that's not. I mean, they're kids. They're kids.
And to that point, a lot of what I did as a coach is I always talked to
the opposing coach.
And I think that's the goal. The goal to it is I always talk to the opposing coach, and I said, okay, I don't want to know who you think needs it unless I ask you that question. I want to know, does this kid get it all the time? Because if this kid gets a lot of time, I don't want to give him another one. I want to find another kid that I like that did something special that game for him.
He might have not got a hit in 27 at bats,
Right.
but you know what? Today he got a hit.
Yep.
And you know what? That's going to put that positive reinforcement in that kid, and they're going to be like, "Wow." They're going to feel special.
And he's got that freaking tag on his
Yeah, he's got his bag, and he's like, I'm not going to lie, they're a good marketing play for us. So, I mean, that helps a little bit, too. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I love walking around seeing those.
Oh, yeah.
But for us, it's like, hey, I'm a Facebook junkie, and I'll scroll and I scroll and I scroll, and it's like, you know what, you see stuff like that, and the smiles on the kid's face, and it's celebrating those little victories.
Parents posting it saying, hey, you got the MVP today.
It makes the kid feel good, because the kids see this stuff. The kids know it. They know, like, when the parents give the kid a high five, they might be down.
Right.
I mean, you might have a kid that went 0 for 3, but he hustled everything out. He did everything the team asked him to, and he might be that MVP. And I don't care what the reason is. It doesn't always have to be the best kid.
Yep.
I mean, because it takes 9 to win.
It does.
It takes a team.
It does.
You know, and most
of the time more than 9.
Yeah, and that's why we want to make it a point of, and you know, a lot of people are good at it, and it's those guys that say, oh, wow, that kid probably shouldn't have got one. He was terrible. And it's guys like that don't belong coaching youth baseball. In my opinion.
Exactly.
And those are the reasons
you
why
are right.
That's why podcasts like this have to exist.
Yes.
Because it's necessary to expose that kind of behavior, and that's why kids, in my opinion, are not falling in love with the game, because people like that don't make it fun forever. You know, the masses.
I really wish we had a Stephen A. drop where we could pause everything real quick. And we need a kids holding a runner on at third base drop now.
No.
Like,
Take a picture.
live
Take a
right
picture of
now.
it. Take a picture of it. Take a picture of it.
I mean, he might be stealing home. So we are going to break just to watch this happen unfold live
history
in front of nobody. If you guys see these backstops, they're like extremely short.
Yeah.
They're indoors.
Yeah.
So this kid better be very fast.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who like Jabu, like from the movie? Was it?
Pedro Serrano.
No, the really fast guy.
No, it's
The
Willie
really
Mays
fast-
Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes is on third, and you got to hold him on. You know? Yeah, that's the only excuse you have at like 11, 12-year-old baseball's going on. So I'm gonna have to go out there and yell, "Hold Willie on!" Like our nuts. You always have Jabu's head like the rest of his body is just like
Suspended Jobu head.
no. I'd make a reference that somebody got a hold of him. You guys would know, Sarah Kolb.
Oh.
Too soon?
Went to school with her.
Really close. Yeah. My brother did too. Too soon.
I don't know about too soon. Just really close.
Yeah. Hopefully her family's not listening.
Wow.
Well, you know.
Pretty sure they're not. They're okay.
Just gonna go ahead and take a while.
Do not Google that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun one for.
That's what happened to Jabu, folks.
Yes.
Just if you Google that reference, that's what. Just pieces.
So for Jobu was dropped from about 3 feet high.
That's about it.
Chopped up.
I won't. We didn't try to burn him.
I didn't go that far.
We might have to bleep that out, Coach.
Whatever.
He looks like we tried to burn him.
That's even worse. Come on now. Reel it back in, Logan. It's your job.
We've got it in left field. We are way off in the weeds.
I don't think we're in left field anymore either.
We are off in the weeds on this one.
We're technically in left field. This field.
Yep, you're right.
Call this the skybox.
I really do feel
on the what is this? South field? Yeah. Southfield, I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're in a skybox and haven't been offered any refreshments.
I got a water over here. Half drank.
He's drank out of it. I don't know if you want any of that.
I'll take that cup when you're done with it, though.
I don't know if I've washed in a week.
It's pretty snazzy.
That's my wife.
A week? I mean...
My wife. I'm pretty helpless at home. She'll tell you. I do baseball 24/7, so...
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way to be, man.
I agree.
Nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
I didn't mean to get us off topic, though.
Thank you. Thank you for
really
that.
had a good topic going, but I almost had an aneurysm, so I had to say something.
So, next, this is just a off-the-topic thing. Next off-season for baseball, if you will, are you going to have more tournaments? More indoor stuff?
Yes. We're working with TBK. They're a really good partner of ours, and they kind of say, hey, there's clearly baseball, softball, there's a need for it indoors, and we're gonna have something like that. For indoors, definitely. Probably starting January and go through March.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be every weekend, but it'll be a lot of weekends.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little bit of baseball, some softball.
Talk of a fall league coming out here too.
Yeah. We partner with Hitmans. We gotta weed through all that still.
Okay.
I know we want to get some things going, like a second season type of thing, something like after like that kind of that like late June into July.
Oh, really?
Part of the problem around here is everybody wants to start like go outside and play like in April and in March, and then they want to get mad when like the weather's terrible. And it's like, why are we playing baseball in March outside? I mean, granted, we're fortunate we have turf here in the Quad Cities, and
Right.
but like years ago, everyone's like, "Oh, sign up for everything in March and early April," and then be pissed off when it cancels. And I'm like, okay, what do you expect? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I know we played in Peoria 2 years in a row and got. Actually, I think it was 3 years.
I think I had snow last year, so it was brutal last year.
Oh,
Last year was awful.
Last year was awful because it went from cold ass rain to lightning and delays, more rain. 2 years ago, it was even colder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's April in the Midwest,
Yeah.
in the northern Midwest, if you will, and if you're expecting to get games in mid-April, good luck.
Yeah, I see that's part of the problem. Sorry to interrupt. A lot of every team wants to get their tryouts done in July because they want to beat every other team to get their tryouts done first so that they can try and secure up their team. And it's like we should be playing baseball in July.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why can't we have tryouts in August? Why can't all the teams just agree? Let's have tryouts in August.
Well, here's the thing: if coaches like focus on teaching the game, making kids enjoy the game, going back to the topic of this whole talk, then maybe kids probably wouldn't want to leave. They'd probably say, "Hey, these are my guys. It is what it is." I mean, somebody that in this regard that I look at, and I know we talked about this earlier, Neil Gawley, what he did with this Tri-County group. I mean, like I said, when they were 9, I mean, it was like, and he'll tell you, they were rough. It was really bad, and I don't know what Neil did to those parents to get them to stick by his side, but like, I almost want to say, did Neil pay him? I have no idea how he talked the parents into staying with him or what, but they weren't very polished. They didn't know the game. They didn't understand. They didn't play the game very well at 9, but they've stuck with him, and now they're 13. They're a really good ball club. And
that's 9U baseball because you're getting kids that haven't played for but maybe a couple years.
But these guys were. But they've stuck with them, and they've learned the game. And like I said, most people when they lose, they run from a team, and they want to go try. The grass is always greener.
Always greener. Yep.
But if a coach knows how to teach the game and knows how to like keep it fun for the kids and keep them like learning, and the parents see that development, maybe they wouldn't be so quick to jump ship and run to the next tryout.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. There had to have been improvement in every player on that team.
Oh, it's been twofold. It's been
right.
That is the most improved team I think I've ever seen in youth baseball.
And so that's how you get the parents to stick around.
Absolutely.
That's the only way you get the parents to stick around is if their child is having fun, and they're improving in the game of baseball.
And the problem is, I don't think it is enough on my kids having fun on this team. I think I've talked to parents and they're like, oh well, I'm going to let them play this friends this year, but next year we're going to take it seriously.
Yeah.
But what does that means? Different things to different people. I mean, that's what everyone needs to sit back and say. I mean, as a family, you almost need to sit back and what is our goals? What is our son's goals? What is our? I mean, you might have the best ball player in the world, but you might not want to travel every weekend. I was just having a conversation with Heath earlier, and there's somebody out there we know that they play like a 8, 9, or 10-year-old team, and they're going to go to Des Moines like 4 times, and like that's great. Why? It's not necessarily needed, but it's and they're like that's not our family's goal. So I mean, part of it is families need to sit down and say what's travel baseball is probably not going anywhere. I'm a big fan of the old Little League system and then play travel baseball on the weekends. Just because of, remember all the Davenport teams that used to make the runs, things like that. They played Little League during the week. I mean, let's face it, it's not easy to get from Clinton to Tri-County during a weeknight game.
You're right.
I mean, most people get off work at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yep.
Get home, get your kids, and get to Clinton for a 5:45 start.
Good luck.
It's almost impossible.
You gotta take time off work to do it.
And we're at that. I mean, people take off so much time for for soccer, baseball, basketball or wrestling or whatever sport they're doing,
Yep.
and then you got other kids and
Hockey.
In order for me to agree with you, I would need to see sweeping changes in Little League, and I think they need to happen.
Absolutely.
fast anyway.
Well, absolutely, changes need to happen in Little League.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to that model. It's just of how do you I wasn't opposed to it because like getting to these, and I'm a big. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock like MVBL. I'm a huge fan of the MVBL league. What Brian does is great. The platform. I mean, you go to Chicago, that what he offers is gonna be like $900 in Chicago.
Right.
You go to Des Moines, what he offers is gonna be like $600.
Yep.
The value in the MVBL is great. The issue I think some of the teams see is I go to your place, but you don't reciprocate, or we got track, everybody's got to cancel. Well, you just don't want to drive there.
Right.
There's got to be something to get those games, and I think the other part is the single A teams don't want to play the AAA, and rightfully so,
Right.
or the disparity in the levels of play.
Or teams from the same organization don't want to play each other. Right? So we see that a lot.
But here's my thing though, in an MVBL game, why does that matter?
Yeah.
That's
It
exactly
doesn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
It comes down to what is your end goal? Is your end goal to run the table and be undefeated, be like all-time best
Right.
youth team ever? I mean, I'm gonna tell you this. I mean, I coached Junior Rocks football like several years ago, and I ran the table, and I got absolutely nothing for it. And I was so disappointed. I think I told Justin Rosser I'll never be back because of it. Actually, not. I did run the table. That's not why I didn't go back. But you get nothing for it. It's the end goal, and I think a lot of people struggle to see that, and families struggle. And I don't know if coaches are clear with parents when they communicate like these are our goals, this is why, this is what we're trying to do, and here's why. Like if you're a feeder program, like Logan's team for example, maybe they're the Junior Rocks, maybe their goal is, hey, our goal is to get you better for the high school level. Most of you are gonna be Rock Island kids. That's the goal. Maybe each organization needs to say, hey, these are our goals, and here's why. And then families decide is that our fit, I mean, if you want to go play, for example, the Hitmen, they're known to be regionally one of the better outfits out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's your goal, then maybe that's where you belong.
If your goal is trophies, go play with the Hitmen.
Well, not just necessarily trophies, and I don't know if that. I mean, because I know a lot of guys that play Hitman, and it's about like they say it's about the competition level,
Yeah.
and all that, and I mean. They want to play at that elite level, the higher end. And so I don't know if it's always chasing trophies per se. It's just getting like a higher level of baseball, and that's your goal. I mean, right. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding what is our goal in all of this. Mm-hmm. Is our goal a college scholarship? Because you're not going to get that at 8, 9, or 10.
Right.
You're not going to get it at 12, 13. Now, if you're 14, things might start happening there where you become noticed if you're playing the right events, you're the right, but I'll tell you this, at 14 AA, that's not the case.
Yeah.
You have to be playing on a high level team at 14U. 14U like major, or very, very high level. And even then it's a long shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes down to what is your personal and family's goals. And I think a lot of people don't go through that self-realization process.
Yeah, I always tell my parents and my kids, like, no college coach is ever going to come to you and ask you what happened in 11U.
I will tell you that is a fact. I promise you, if that happens to you, you will have free tournaments for life. I'm telling you that right now. So it just doesn't happen. I mean, in the way the recruiting world is changing, it's not. I mean, they're just going to focus on kids as they get older. I mean,
right.
the NCAA it's changing in that direction.
I guarantee you're not going to be scouted if you have a coach that does not teach you how the proper way to be in a rundown, the proper way to throw the ball and then go follow your throw and get in line on the other side.
No. Your team won't get looked at if a scout walks up and sees you holding a runner on third base.
Well,
the bottom line.
That's the first. But if you
I
have
wouldn't-
coaches that aren't teaching you the nuts and bolts of the game,
Fundamentals, basics.
how backing up bases, how to take a throw, from the catcher, how to throw, from the catcher, working on pop time, just a little tiny stuff like that.
But on the flip side, yes, you want to see a baseball IQ, but I think we've said it before. You can't teach speed, you can't necessarily teach arm strength, and you can't teach. The baseball IQ, if you will. You can't teach baseball IQ.
I can teach IQ. I can't teach instincts.
Okay, fine.
If we're going to define that differently.
And we will. That's fine. So those are the main things that scouts are looking for, but they're not going to get. They're not if they're not seeing the flip side. If they're not seeing the play come through, then you're not going to be looked at.
But it all boils down to this: if a kid doesn't love the game,
they're going to have it.
They're not going to get to that level anyway because they're not going to play when they're 14, 15, 16.
Yep.
So if we don't change the way youth baseball's taught, played, all those, they're never going to get to that point, so it's not going to matter.
Yep. I would like to see at some point some sort of you have to pass a very basic test in order to be a coach, so you're not just some pissed off dad that thinks they can do better, and now you have 14 organizations, 14 teams in the same organization of the same age group.
Or 14 different teams in a small area like the Quad Cities.
But here's the thing to that. If everyone understands what that team's goals are, and if that family is getting what the experience they want out of it, then who are we to decide if they play travel ball or town ball or little league, or you know what I mean? So if they're getting the experience they want, and that's what they signed up for,
right,
then so be it. So it all goes back to what experience do I want for my family, and that it comes down to picking the right travel team. A lot of people struggle. I get messages religiously June, July, early August. Where should I try out? Well, what do you want? What do you want? I mean, I don't know what your family wants. Do you want to play 70 games? Do you not want to travel? What is important to you? Do you want to learn to play the game the right way? What do you want to win? I mean, because if you want to be 9U and just win a bunch of games, well, great. Find you a coach that just doesn't put up a stop sign and every kid or walk turns into a home run.
Yeah.
If you want to learn the game, find the guy that, hey, we get a walk. We're going to stay at first. We're going to move on a pass ball. We're going to go to third on another pass ball. We're not going to take the plate.
Right.
We're going to have to hit the guy in or something like that.
Or you steal strategically rather than first pitch, second pitch, and then pass ball.
That's funny you say that because I put to me I'm coaching 9U this year, and it's a predicament that I'm in. Whereas I know coaches are going to do that to me.
Oh, they're going to do it,
and so it's
all day long.
And I'm on a MVBL league, game. I don't care. But on Sunday, we all came there to do for the same reason. We all came there because we want to at least try and win. Maybe that's not our number one goal.
I think you said it right.
What is the end goal?
You said it perfectly. You want to be competitive on Sundays.
You want to be competitive on Sundays. But is the end does because there's a trophy involved, does that change how the game should be played and taught?
No.
It should not change.
Why? So.
But
why?
it's self-defeating to come into there and let my kids just get the track meet ran on them and not do that to the other team.
100% agree.
And now when we come out of every Sunday with our heads down because we lost the first game because we had the track ran on us.
You solve that? Don't walk somebody.
True that. True that.
They don't get the first, they can't run the track.
Or have a catcher good enough to throw them out a second.
Oh, and I'm a big proponent of that. Kids just throw strikes. I don't care how hard you throw the ball. Just throw a strike. Let them hit the ball.
9-year-old baseball, man on second, one out, ball hit on the left side of the field, and the kid just automatically goes. And it's coach doesn't, they're not teaching, hey, stop. And little things like that aren't going to make a kid fall in love with the game. It's the making it fun. But a lot of it is getting the right guy in the right spot to coach. And my back in the day, I look back at I played for a guy by the name of Terry Stevens, and we do Memorial Day after his name. And Terry was a huge part of youth baseball. He was awesome for what I did. Great guy, made the game fun. He had nicknames for all the kids. He knew how to motivate you, knew how to talk trash to you, knew how to if you screwed up, you knew it, but you still respected the guy and you still wanted to learn the game, and you loved it. And that's you don't see that these days. It's just different.
You're right.
It's different.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And
I remember we were at 9U, and something really innocuous happened, and it gave us a run, and it cost the other team a run. And Lance tried to make a joke to the other coach, just ha ha ha, because this is fucking 9U baseball. And the other coach was, threw a damn tantrum at him. He's like, jeez, sorry, it's 9U baseball. It's Saturday. Just calm down.
Yeah. And that's, again, the reason why we're talking here is because you have the coaches that are like that.
And like I said, I think all their hearts are in the right spot. I think I think they're there for the right season. And I'm not. We're not trying to pick on anyone.
Nope.
I'm not trying to, call anyone out or say, hey, the world's filled with bad coaches. It's not they're bad coaches. It's just I think everyone's goals are a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to how do families find that right fit for them, because there's what, 1 million travel teams in the Quad Cities, so there's a spot for everybody.
Right.
And if there's not, you're free to go make one, because that's usually what happens anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a spot for you just got to find what's everyone's goals are different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was to ask you guys all separately, what do you want to get out of travel baseball for you and your kid and your family, all three of you would probably give me a different answer if we were in a different room.
You're right.
I mean, and if I was to go pull every one of these parents out there, I would be lucky if I found 10 that gave me the same answer. But it's trying to find the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you actually independently polled a bunch of people, a lot of people's answer would be to win, but they would not admit that to you.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody wants. Yeah, no.
And they know that's not the right answer, but that's what their answer is.
Yeah, nobody's gonna say, "Oh, I'm all about winning. I don't care."
Okay, so but don't you play to win?
You do.
But
When you're on the field,
you play to win. As coaches, you coach to win. Let's be honest. We can all agree to that. However,
there are limits.
There are limits, and the way you coach to win is the
I hate to use the word integrity, because it's not really integrity, because it's like not, but do you let something like stealing home or running circling the bases at 9U,
what we would call bush league? Are you going to play a bush league,
to play
or
bush to get, because your kids aren't learning that,
right?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to sacrifice the making them better ball players to win a ball game at 9U?
Right. I had this fight in Little League when I was coaching. It was a championship game. Fielded a ball. Kid was on second base. Fielded a ball that was hit to second. Threw it to first. The kid that was on second, they sent him home because you have to make you're expecting a kid to not make a good throw. So first inning, I had that happen twice. And fine, my players didn't make the perfect throw to get the kid out. I walked up
5.
because they were 7, 8, 9. I mean, it was Little League kid pitch. I walked up to the coach, and I said, "You do understand that this isn't baseball, right? So what you're doing right now is next year, these kids will all be getting thrown out at home, and you're not going to make them better." And he looks at me and goes, "I don't care. Go coach your team." We lost because I didn't keep running my kids properly or the way they did it.
So when those kids are 12, are they going to be better than your kids? Probably. They might not understand the game.
Right.
So, but that's where parents need to sit back and say, hey, they need to recognize that and say, hey, my kid's not going to get any better if he just sees it's just a track race.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a race. That's all it is.
That's part of the problem is these parents aren't having these conversations with themselves or with the coaches. They're not considering, is this the right fit for me, like you're talking about. They're just, well, he's on his buddy's team, so great.
That wasn't a conversation that I even had with my wife.
Right.
We didn't talk about what our goals were for the season. I mean, you know what? She leaves it up to me, so in a way we did talk. In a way. But it ultimately boiled down to, we kind of looked at each other and said, and I said my piece. I said, my goal for Kellen is to get the best coaching to make him the best ball player he can be, because that's what he wants. And she looks at me and she goes, well, what's the cost of that? And I said, at this point in time, I don't know. Because there are different organizations that cost differently.
Absolutely.
So cost, how much are we going to travel? It's all things that we didn't know going into the team we're on now. And schedule comes out. We're busy every weekend from beginning of April to end of June, which is, you know what? That's what we signed up for. It's summer. It's baseball season. Kellen loves it.
And it goes into, though, how the game has changed, though. I mean, back when we all played, it was all like Little League, and everyone kind of you got your T-shirt, you went over to the ballpark, you got your pop and hot dog after the game, and it was kumbaya.
Suicides always.
Yeah, suicide, yeah. Maybe played a game of cup ball, I don't know if you guys know about that.
We always played pickle at Orion.
Yeah.
Always played pickle
cup ball game at Milan Little League there. Mm-hmm. And once you got to All-Star, the All-Star goal was different.
Yes.
So, and I remember, when I first made the Hitman as a kid, and my mom and dad sitting there in the living room, and they're talking about it, and, is this a commitment we really want to make, and why do we want to do this? And I don't know if those conversations are happening now, or why. I mean, I think it's just. I honestly think some people play travel baseball because it's a status thing.
Mm-hmm.
They want to put the sticker on the back of their car, and they want to. Oh, my kid plays. Water cooler. Hey, my kid plays for so and so.
Right.
I mean, and it's like that's not what it's about. It's about becoming a better ball player. And hopefully, they fall in love with the game more. And
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, Little League baseball and town ball it's a dying breed, and
It is, and so it blows my mind still that the Little League World Series is still as big as what it is. But notice it's not teams from
Little League. Yeah, those are
those
super
are travel ball teams that are playing.
They're travel ball. Yeah, they're travel ball teams that
play 60-foot bases.
Yeah, it's all the teams that make it there are all. I mean, they're hand selected.
Right.
I mean, they're going back to play 12U baseball for one reason, and I mean they probably didn't want to play with their like a good example of who could do this here locally is I look at that Wildcats 11U major team. I mean, my gosh, if you brought those kids back to play Little League next year, I think they'll live in the same district. They would make a serious run at Williamsport.
Yeah, they would.
And I don't know if that's their goals or what they want to do, but it's teams like that.
We played that team at 10U.
Yeah, it's teams like that. Those are the ones that are making those runs, like that Jackie Robinson.
Yep.
That was all the Chicago White Sox Ace program. Like they played our tournaments. I mean, I literally saw them all the time. I mean, up in Chicago, and it goes back to what is the end goal. I mean, and like that's why I say like the game has changed so much back because in Little League we didn't have because everyone paid their $55 per Little League and or $35 and now it's like okay that's a drop in the bucket to what the parents are paying these days and
I wish you paid that much.
Yeah, it's a drop in the. I mean, it's like okay. I mean,
Some of these tournaments were so damn expensive, we wouldn't have to charge that much.
I know,
but
right?
I mean, my kid is. I had to pay for him to go to UAC. So I mean, with that being said, fees are going up, and gate fees we're gonna have a bucket on the side for gate fees because that Rick Singer needs some money. And he's getting more expensive. So
He's getting the job done though.
yes. Just hopefully they'll have the wiretaps on. Lori Laughlin, yeah.
I got to tell you guys what I just saw, and it's
I saw you take a picture of it.
Completely hysterical. So we got a kid holding a runner on at third base.
Again?
Every single time,
Yep.
except for when a play was on. Then he was off the base, and then ran over to the base as the It was comical. I was like, oh. And they're our age group. I'm like, yes, can we please play this team? Please.
Yeah.
Good baseball.
Pretty sure I know who the coach is, but
It's March.
Well,
It's March.
it's
We're
March.
playing baseball. That's all that matters.
That's absolutely
We're
right.
going to chalk it up to that.
Absolutely right.
I mean, honestly, these
I would
games are
love
kind
to
of
be able to
glorified practices, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of. Yeah, basically.
that's what if I were to get in that
Yeah,
tournament next weekend,
it's
that's
what-
literally what it would be.
that's what
Because
it's for.
we're
I mean,
not ready
it's-
to play baseball yet, but
No,
at the same
it's-
time, like, where are you going to get a better practice than in a game?
Well, no.
How-
You can't get practice in a game.
well, how can we be ready for games in the situation that we have? We can't.
You're right. You
But
can't be.
It's a perspective you go into it with,
It's-
though.
it's-
I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's the
like, I mean, it's that perspective you go into it with. I mean, you can get practice out of it. Just as long as the parents have the understanding, we are not playing.
We're not here to get a trophy.
Winning is not the goal.
No.
I
Right.
mean, it's
Literally.
making sure we do the little things so we're ready for the.
Yeah.
Is our end goal to go to state? And, I mean, maybe start the. And that I wish more coaches would go into this Little League or travel baseball season saying, we're AA right now. Our end goal is to be the AAA state champion. How come that's nobody's goal? Nobody looks at it that way. Because if you start as a 9U AA, you should be like, our goal when we're 14 is to be the major state champ.
Yeah.
Why is that not the goal? I mean, everyone's like, and everyone, I get calls and emails, and JP, go talk to the state. This is ridiculous. I got bumped. You should celebrate that.
Yeah.
Why are we not? That's a success.
Yep.
How are you
Yes.
getting better at playing against
You
teams
were
that you're
bumped.
beating the crap out of?
You were
I-
bumped. Even if you're not beating them, you're winning. That's success. Celebrate it. Embrace it. Make the kids should that should be high fives. And
And also, if you're getting bumped, why did you not start there?
Well, I disagree because you can play into that. You can play into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes you just don't
you
know what kind of team you got
now-
until
now
you
the
get out
question,
there.
Now the question is next year, do you still register as a AA team?
But the
Or
state should not
whatever.
allow that.
No, I
that's my
completely
beef
agree.
on that. The state should never. I mean, if you end at AA or end at AAA, that's where you should be the next
I
year.
think even the top 4 or 5, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
you should be bumped.
Not point system though, but we won't get started on that
Yeah.
one. But the top team should move up to the next level.
And that should be the goal. Like when we
That
talk
was
about
our
like
goal.
goals and things like this, it should always be, and when coaches are communicating this to the players and parents, if you don't think these parents are looking at U-Trip stuff like religiously, you're out of your mind. Because I get calls, I can't. You want to see Heath's eyes roll? Come watch him when he gets a phone call. Why are our points not updated? I mean, it is like Monday at well, if he's in the office by 8, but he's not. so I would say if 8 o'clock his phone's ringing, why are our points not up? And the eye roll just instantly starts, and they're all looking at it, but nobody
You need to calm down.
Nobody wants to use that though as like a stepping stone. Like that's where we should be, like the benchmark. I mean, the goal is we just want to win, and it's like, well, that's not going to get your kid better.
Right.
That's my only critique of MVBLB because I always get that. I want
MVBL.
Yeah, BLLB, whatever.
The league,
Yeah.
the league.
And I think
We'll just call it the show.
The show.
The Quad City, the show.
Quad City, the show.
I think there's a lot of merit to it. I know a lot of coaches are down about it. I think it's valuable, especially for where I'm at. But my point is, I think that if you're registered as a AAA team, I think because in tournaments that's the way it is. You either have to play up in a AA or you have to play in an open. And that's my only criticism is that I wish that the AAA teams should have to play up because in my opinion, what's the point if you're a AAA team and then you play all AA teams in league? Like what are you getting out of that? You're not getting any better.
You're getting better, or you should. You
my
should.
team's gonna get better out of the deal, but
you might be able to. But that's the thing, though, is what are you using the league for?
Yeah.
Coaches should be using the league as an opportunity because let's face it, every dad, every mom, well, most of them think their kid is a pitcher. And let's face it, when you're paying $400, $500 for a tournament, whatever they are, whatever you're paying on a given weekend, it's hard to march a kid out there
right.
that isn't going to be in a position to be successful. And you don't want to put that kind of pressure in a tournament situation. That's what the league is for.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
You should march those kids out there. And that's where, like, a AAA kid, why not let, like, those guys, if your team might tee off. And you know what? You might face the worst pitcher on a AAA team as a AA team, and you tee off on him, and your team, like, comes out, puts 10 runs on him. My God, what a great experience, guys! We can play with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. These kids all know, because Dad's at home. Oh my God, and like freaking out. We just put 10 spot, and little Timmy on the ride home, and Dad's like, oh yeah, you can beat these guys, and in reality, you saw their number like 14 pitcher, but it's still an opportunity to learn
point.
and get better. And that's what the league's about. And I know when Brian started it, we didn't have as many teams in the area. There were only a handful, and it was different. But I look at the league numbers, and it's like, man, they're down. And I understand why, but I also understand, like, guys, if you guys use this the right way,
yeah,
it could be an opportunity because, like I said, I know parents can be ruthless, and my kid's a pitcher, and
it's also a good way to show that parent your kid's not a pitcher. That's what we used it for a couple of times.
Yeah, or you just use it as a, hey, maybe the kid's actually gotten better and you don't know. Yeah, but there's both sides to it.
There's two sides, and I think you are definitely onto something with what the end goal is. Whether it's one practice, a league game, a tournament weekend. There should always be something that you have a goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's for the team, the kid, individual players, whatever it is, there has to be that goal. Like per se, I always used the start before we got into our first tournament. So we'd play about four league games. I always used that to hone in our more our starting pitchers, if you will. The ones that threw a little bit more innings, just to get them ready for tournament action, if you will. Use that, and then once we hit tournament, I flipped it around and said, okay, now we're going to be using our 8 through 12 pitchers in these league games to help make them better, because it was always my goal to have every kid pitch or be able to pitch, throw strikes.
Be competent enough to.
Right, you could put them out there if you had, you run into a long game or whatever, you need to waste an arm or use an arm, whatever it is. That was always the goal.
Yeah, and that's like I said, I think that's a big part of it. It's just the goal. And it's not. It's big picture. It's like, hey, what's our goal today? What's our goal for the season? And if people understood that, I think the experience for their kid, and they might say, hey, our goal is not for my kid to fall in love with baseball. He frankly doesn't like baseball. I don't want him to get in trouble at school. I don't want him to be on the streets. I don't want him doing this. Okay. At least the coach knows that.
Yep.
They know that. They know what they're going to get out of that kid. They know what they're going to get out of that family. You're going to get a little more out of the family that, hey, my kid loves baseball. The goals to get better. That kid might try a little harder, but at least you know, and that it's fair to the coaches, fair to the other people,
Absolutely.
that expectation at least is set.
I can tell you as a coach, I would love it if one of my parents came to me and was brutally honest with me and told me that. I would much rather you tell me that than me find out the hard way.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that because you, as a coach, you can still make that impact on that child.
Yeah.
So
It's
wow. Sorry, I just got a text.
You're good.
There's an issue down here. Families fighting. Outstanding. March baseball at its best.
families are fighting.
I guess. I don't know. Somebody must have stepped on somebody's toes and they're holding them on a third. We're gonna go with that.
Do you need to go take care of
No,
that?
we'll see what they say.
It's just, and that is so.
The epitome of everything that we are talking about right now.
That's youth baseball in
You
a
know, 'cause
nutshell right
we've-
now, and it's
we've
so
talked.
annoying.
We've talked about parents. We talked about coaches at making the game better. I think it comes down to the parents making the
Absolutely.
game better too.
Absolutely. It's well. I mean, I
More
look.
fun.
I look at last year, and we had it was an incident here at TBK. It was one of the first weekends, and I'll tell you. I mean, Doug Kratz, when he built this place, he kind of had a rule: JP, no assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Heath and I like to joke that we can be assholes, but at times it's like we kind of have to be because that's a lot of people just when you get large masses of people and they pay the amount of money they're paying, they think that they can do whatever they want, act however they want, act a fool. And we actually had a grandpa last year that was like he was an official, and you just shake your head, and it's they were wrong, and parents are crying and moms are crying, and it's like. These kids see that.
Mm-hmm.
They see it. You're not making the game any better for them.
Right.
You're really not, and that sucks. Because that's the memory the kid's gonna have.
Yeah.
Not the, hey, we all had so much fun at the pool together. Or we went to went to the zoo or whatever it may be.
Right.
Or hey, I went over to high five. Remember we all went at laser tag. We beat the parents or whatever it may be. I mean, those are the memories you should have. Not hey, my grandpa acted like a ass clown and got ran from a ballpark and was allowed back. That's not cool.
Well, I mean,
I like that rule though. No assholes.
Yeah, that was Doug's.
There's something to be said with you acting a fool at an umpire because of a blown call or something like that. But getting into a fight with another fan, are you out of your damn fool mind? Like, what seriously could have happened in March?
He said it right.
It just
Kid stepped on the other kid's toes and hurt him.
Yeah,
it's so annoying. Like I just want to pull my freaking hair out.
Yeah. And you're not even a freaking parent.
I know that, and that's probably the biggest problem. But
it is what I mean.
Something else.
It's the changes that you've seen,
Yeah.
and that's what it boils down to.
Speaking
Parents
of changes,
take it
something
too
else
much.
I really want to get in before
Okay.
we cut this out. I really wanted to talk to you about the pitch limit. I know that's a big issue for you.
Okay.
It's a big issue for all of us
All
parents,
coaches.
all of us
Parents,
coaches, and
coaches.
I know I can only imagine how hard it is on your end. But
it is and it isn't. So it's simple. I have to. I'm in a tough spot. I'm a big fan of the game and making sure the game's around for a long, long time. I'm a huge fan in pitch, like U-Trip pitching rules, and I will go on the record saying this. They are terrible.
yeah,
Innings is not an indicator of wear in the arm.
You're right.
Because I've seen kids go out and throw 3 ground balls or 3 fly balls, 3 balls, 3 outs, and that is the same as a kid goes out there and can't get
Throws 30.
40 pitches in an inning or 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
30, 40. I mean that's night and day.
Right.
I mean that's not the same indicator. I think part of it though is the economics of it, and it sucks to say that, but it's the economics of it as well. Where imagine if I had to sit somebody behind the plate and keep a pitch count, that's an extra person I have to pay, and that money, the money all comes from the same place. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is, everyone wants to play tournaments. The money comes from the same place. It comes from parents. It comes from sponsors. It comes from your guys' budgets. Me, Heath, JP Sports, we're not the ones paying for it. The money all comes from the parents. And that's what they need to understand is, if we were to put somebody behind the plate, it's going to cost more. Is that worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Part of me says yes. Part of me says no. The logical part of me says, hey, we got to keep costs down so more people can play. We also don't want injuries. And I God forbid I ask two coaches to do it, because I can't tell you how many times I go on the field and we can't agree on the score, and I'm like, how did that even happen? But it happens.
What?
Yeah.
It happens. They're arguing over whose book is right, and you look at these things, and I'm like, you're looking at a game from 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm not really keeping a book. Oh, no wonder. But that's actually happened. That has happened, and it does. Mind blown.
Can't make this stuff up.
It really has happened, and it's. I can tell you, it probably happens. I don't know, at least. If I said once a month, I'd be undershooting it. I'd say it probably happens at least twice a month where they don't agree on what a score is. Could you imagine? Score is pretty easy. I mean, they make those things that stick in the fence now, and Grandma leans over and flips one over, and everybody knows. And yet they still can't agree. Oh, I think we have another guy holding somebody on a third.
We have 2 feet on a bag right now.
Whoa!
He's on the wrong side of the base holding him on.
Is he straddling the bag?
He's got 2 feet in the middle of the bag.
Perfect.
That's
perfect.
You know what? Doing it
Then
perfectly.
sprinting into his position as the pitch is coming.
Textbook.
It is absolutely hysterical. Same team. I think different third baseman, I hope.
Sorry.
But yeah.
The runner scored anyway. What?
It all comes down to the economics of it,
yeah.
And how do we make it work that's feasible? So U-trip pitching rules are garbage. So our philosophy at JP Sports is why use those,
right?
I mean, you guys as coaches all know their kids' arms better than I do.
I would actually refuse to use U-trip.
Yeah, I don't.
I know you don't.
We don't.
But even as a coach, I won't play in a tournament that uses U-trip rules.
And now don't get me wrong, state you have to because it's their state. I'm kind of handcuffed and stuff like that.
Yes.
But for the most part, that's not a good indicator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also I followed the whole PitchSmart thing, and Rusty, him and I have had a conversation about PitchSmart. Huge fan of PitchSmart. I think it's great. I mean, they've done the research, they've done all that. I think it's great. The problem is paying somebody to track that.
Right.
I can't have coaches do it because, like I said, they
can't agree on the score. We can't agree on pitch count.
Imagine them trying to keep pitch count. Oh my God, that's just
but they have these newfangled things that are on your phone.
Oh, they don't even check the box in their books anymore. They don't even.
I never kept the book myself personally as a coach. He didn't keep the book because I can't read his writing. I
don't want to keep the book either.
I know.
He tried to have me chart.
Do a pitch count. He had 6. I'm like, we're in the 6th inning, bro.
But that is a hard thing to do.
Throwing a gem.
But
just keep him going. It's good. His arm is not sore.
That's the main reason I bring it up, though, is it's not because, and I agree with you. You do know your kids better than anyone else does, but my concern is sometimes you got to protect those kids from their coach, or a lot of times, or their dad.
Agreed.
And that's where I think
I know who you're talking about too right now. I really do.
And I'm not going to name names. We're not here to do that. But
please don't.
No, I'm serious. I've seen a kid that pitched almost 200 pitches in a day.
I know exactly who you're talking about right now. I really do.
And it's scary because I'm afraid for that kid. I'm afraid he's going to have Tommy Johns before he gets out of high school. And
I agree.
He probably will.
But the thing is even if I...
How many Tommy Johns does he have?
He's going to have a couple.
It was plural, so it has to be at least 2.
He's going to have a couple.
14 you, and then probably 17. Right around that age.
But even if you have the if there's some way to monitor it from my end, I'm not there to babysit that guy at a league game. I'm not there to babysit when they go home.
That's just it. You don't know what they pitched during the week.
Done.
Yep.
Right.
I mean,
so it puts you in a tough spot. That's why I bring it up, because it's like a lot of people look at you and they're like, "Well, I can't believe he's letting these kids do this." And it's like they have no idea what you're even coming from.
They have no idea what you can and can't do. I mean,
I wish we had a solution. I really do. I mean, I can't follow every team every weekend, every game, and I wish there was a way to track it. But I don't know what you did on Tuesday night. I don't know what you did on Thursday night. I don't know what you did last weekend. I mean, these are young arms. I mean, and I'll be honest. I mean, most kids that throw it, like going back to my youth playing days, I played against a guy by the name of Ryan Sweeney, and he like struck everybody out, and he played for the Cubs. I mean, he was a difference maker. He was lights out on the mound, but he didn't go on to pitch in the major leagues. He was an outfielder. You know, I mean, most guys that end up being pitchers, a lot of them didn't really. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are, but a lot of them weren't even pitchers as kids.
Oh yeah,
they really weren't.
Probably not the top. I mean,
a lot of them. You're right.
A lot of them aren't. They come from like
pitchers
catchers, or they come from like
young.
outfielders, or they just got like somebody sees them like, man, they got the right build for it. And they throw hard, and you know, it's just.
Kenley Jansen 5 years ago was a catcher in the World Baseball Classic.
So I mean, it's not. But everyone thinks, well, I got to throw. No, it's not about throwing.
To that point, I mean, how many of these Little League World Series kids do you see that are, you know, very few of them actually end up playing that position that they played in the Little League World Series?
They don't.
If they do make it to the pros.
It's rare.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's where you see you have 6 shortstops come onto a high school ball club. You can't play shortstop with 6 players.
Huh?
You know, so that's an issue that high school teams are running into as well. You know, getting that, but you see, if you look at the pitchers that are throwing 9, 10, 11, 12, how many of them can continue the same amount of pitches that they've been doing for the last 4 years? I can tell you right now that, I mean, yeah, Kellen could probably throw a little bit more, maybe a little bit harder. Can he handle it? And to that point, you know, you've spoken with Rusty. Every kid's different.
Oh, absolutely.
Every mechanic, you may have a slight mechanical hitch in your throwing, and that could work for you and not cause any issues. But for someone else, it could be in the career kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all about the stress you put on your arm when you throw. I mean, your arm slot could be different stress. I mean, there's so many different variables.
I
mean, you could have a guy go out there.
One time? No.
You could have a kid that walks out there and throw like Gumby, like 200 pitches, and it arm feels great.
Arm doesn't.
You know, I mean, then you have a guy go out there and throw 30, and they threw out of their shoes, and their arm was going to hurt for 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than just pitching, though. I mean, and that's what's like the real interesting part about this, though, because I see a lot of guys that we're not playing with 25-man rosters.
Right.
I mean, my God, imagine the playing time complaints then. but I mean, you see a kid go from pitcher to catcher, and then they go and play shortstop the next game or whatever. They got to throw across the diamond, and it's
There's no way his arm been hurt.
Yeah, and it's they're young arms, and it's being cognizant of that, and it's being, you know, but it's coaches. As much as I had a solution, I wish I had something, because honestly, it's like we talk about this all the time, like internally. It's like, what can we shake our head. It irritates us. Like last night, we literally had a kid that threw a lot of pitches, and we're just like, Heath and I are both like, what are you doing? It's like, it's March, you know, end of June. Okay, you might be able to, okay. I'm not going to roll my, you know, I'm not going to give the eye roll then, but now it's like, what are you doing? I mean, it's let the arm develop.
Right, you're sacrificing, 16 and 17 for 12 and 13. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the point?
And is one outing going to be Tommy John? Probably not. I mean,
right.
I know Rusty's like, don't be saying that, JP. It's going to. but reality is, it's one outing's probably not. But it's that.
But it could be.
It could be, and it's you're setting that precedent that it's okay to do, and it's not, because these are kids. You know, it's why not give somebody else that opportunity? They might fall in love with the game a little more. But
there you go.
But it comes down to that end goal, and winning is sometimes more important than.
We ran into that issue, and I'm one that I'm okay, you know, admitting that I want you to listen to what I'm saying, not listen to what I'm doing, because we do some stuff that, you know, I don't feel great about.
We've overpitched a few
in the terms,
but
of,
not,
you know, to win, and it was. The kid was begging us to pitch. He had more innings left in the state tournament. We had 8 kids, And I went to his mother and I said, he wants to pitch. You will be the decider if you want to let him.
But that's the difference, though. You went to the parent and you said, hey, and the other thing, like, to make, not to try to justify that for you, but look where you're at in the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's June.
The last tournament.
It's June. The kid has some innings. He might not have thrown a week before. I mean, he
didn't pitch a lot leading up
yeah,
to
so
it.
it's different than like some of these guys that come out the gates and they throw 300 pitches in like, you know, a weekend in April, and it's like, what are you doing? And that's the real issue. And I wish there was a way. I wish there was like a, you know, maybe we put I don't know, one of those little red lights behind on the backstop every time, and with a button, and if somebody throws a kid too much, somebody goes on and hits the thing because they think the coach is a moron or something. I don't know. I mean, that's just going to cause a fight. I mean, I'm just shooting from the hip here, but
I can tell you, we actually last year it was we did an 8U kid pitch open tournament, and
kid pitch or coach pitch?
Kid pitch.
Okay.
And
Some of these coaches and coach pitch throw way too many innings too.
oh yeah, no doubt.
Some of these guys, yeah.
And they had a pitch limit, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. It was just a nightmare.
It's just
I mean, God bless them for trying, but it was an absolute mess.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a tough position to be in.
Yep.
And a lot of people are like, you need – no, I get it. But end of the day, the coaches know their kids better than
any specific pitch limit.
And that's why you see me sharing a little bit of what Rusty does on Facebook, on our social media, because we have a good following on social media on JP Sports, and I want parents to see that. I want them to take ownership and hold coaches accountable because it is their kid. It is their kid.
Yep.
Speaking of Facebook, if you guys are wondering what we're talking about, which is with Pitch Smart guidelines, there is actually a link to the Pitch Smart guidelines that I think Rusty posted, that I posted on our Uncoachable Facebook page as well. So take a look at that if you are unaware of the guidelines that we are speaking of.
And the coaches, ultimately, coaches have to be have to be smart about this for the players' thing. But parents, don't be afraid to approach your coach and
stand your ground.
Demand that your child doesn't throw that many.
Yeah, I mean, like think about it this way. Ask yourself this: will my kid be able to play? Will my son be able to play catch with his kids when he's 50? I mean, if he's throwing 400 pitches a weekend at 10, no, he's not.
No.
His arm's going to be shot.
I can barely play catch with my kids.
You know,
anymore.
and that's, I mean.
And I didn't even play that.
Only
I didn't even play that
yeah.
bullets in the gun. There's only so many bullets.
I mean, but that's the thing is, if you do that now, are you going to take away that later?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I mean, I know it's hard to imagine that, but I mean, look at it that way. It might be a little easier. I don't know what the answer is, but it's.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'll play. You know, we'll have 2 practices on a weekend, and I'll wake up Monday and I'll be like, man, my elbow is killing me.
Well, you don't throw correctly, so no.
Well, there's that.
Or warm up the right way. But no, I mean, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of there truly isn't.
We played against this kid was at like 180 pitches the game before us.
Yep.
And we played him in the championship game, and that kid went back out there and pitched, and you could tell he was gassed.
Oh, he was gassed and got rocked.
We beat the hell out of him, but his dad was in the stands screaming about everything, and I'm like.
And the problem is dad should be screaming at the coach for putting his kid in that situation.
He should be, but he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
and that it's the umpire's fault. It's somebody else's fault.
Right.
That
I just made a remark to the umpire about a balk. I'm like, you guys need to, he's balking almost every pitch, and I'm teaching my kids what balks are at this age. They're on the base paths wondering what the hell's going on, and you have not called a single balk. And the dad starts screaming at me. Let them handle it. I said, they're not handling it. That's the problem. And then he wanted to come out and fight me on the field. I'm like, over what?
Yeah, I remember
For
that
trying to teach the umpire and the kid the correct rules of the game. And let's face it, nothing against umpires, but hey, some of these guys, and this is something I wish all parents would take into consideration. Most of them are kids. They're young kids, and if you're expecting a young kid to understand every facet of baseball, you're insane, because this is one of the most. It is probably the most complex game.
If you're expecting
We're talking about umpires, or
if you're expecting a 20-year
rules too,
a 20-year vet umpire, though, they may just miss it.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, sometimes it is like you said. Sometimes it takes a coach to come out and say, "Hey, by the way, just so you know, I don't know if you're aware, but this is what he's doing is a balk.
Yeah, but
Kids, you keep an eye out for that, please.
There's things umpires
There's a way to go
do.
about it.
There's things umpires do. You guys might know. I mean, like, now that you get these turf fields, but I remember back in the day when umpired, he'd go dust the mound off or, hey, quit, give me a pause there. I don't want to hit you for a balk. I mean, little things like that. And I'm notorious for turning to the shortstop saying, hey, he's got to pause. Go talk to him. I mean, a good umpire will be, hey, telling the kids, hey, go talk to him. Go tell him this.
Yep.
Things like that. I mean,
Or bring it up between innings to your coach.
Yeah.
To the coach. Say, hey, I brought it up to another team's coach. I was talking to him between innings. I was like, you do realize that your pitcher's balking. This is what he's doing. Some take it in a good way, some not so much. But
just worry about your own. And it's
right.
Okay,
it's like, well,
I would rather the kid from the other team learn on not to do that
than me get a base.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's home or not. It doesn't matter to me.
I want the kids to learn. That's
what I mean. I'm not looking to get the base necessarily. I'm looking to just correct the problem.
Yeah, just teach the game.
Right.
Be a better ball player.
Yep.
Right. And you don't have to go crazy on an umpire to get there. As a matter of fact, you're better off. Just having a calm conversation. Just say, hey, by the way, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing that too? If you do see it, can we at least get some warnings going?
I just wanted it addressed. That was my thing. I just wanted it addressed because my boys knew.
So, as someone that umpired for quite a while,
I wasn't very good.
No, I don't care. I don't care if you're good or not.
I wasn't very good.
Yeah, you weren't either.
Strike 3.
I showed up.
Hard job.
I showed up though.
But you were
It's
there.
a hard job.
My question is, if you have a guy like him that will come up and joke with you between innings, which way would you call it?
What do you mean?
So let's say there's a bang bang call. Okay, this is hypothetical. Bang bang play. Okay, you have a coach that's been in your ear that's nagging. You have someone that's kind of joked with you. Are you likely as an umpire to go one way or the other?
No, I think most umpires can't put that together. If they're actually watching
in the moment.
Yeah, if it's bang bang, you really can't get it. I will be honest. I don't think most our umpires are smart enough to blow a game. I don't think they could cheat if they wanted to. Just to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
Like if we're buddy, like, hey, like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you're out there for 6 games. You get talking to first base coaches, and like you get to know them, but I don't think it changes their perspective. I mean, because you got to look at it this way. I mean, in an hour and 10 minutes, you're probably going to be off their field, and they're not going to see you again that weekend.
Right.
End of the day, if they're not going to give you a call because umpires are looking for outs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never seen an umpire call a guy safe when they're out just because they want to be there longer. I mean, they're paid by the game, not by the hour, so they're not going to prolong the game for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
know. If when I was umpiring, it didn't matter.
No, yeah, you don't think about it. It's bang bang like call is this.
We just have that debate sometimes. Like, is there an umpire that gets intimidated, and then or vice versa? Is he like, oh, that guy's cool, I'm gonna try to hook him up?
I don't think it ever crosses the
or
line.
if
right.
it's, or if it's subconsciously and it's I've talked to them a little bit, I've laughed with them a little bit. I better not give them this call. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think it.
But
I don't think so.
Overthinking
I mean, I
it.
could be wrong. I mean, we do have. I mean, umpires are an odd breed. I mean, so it's they might. I mean, I don't think so.
Fair enough.
I mean, no, I have seen umpires. You guys ever seen umpire Lion, Tiger, Bear? You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
So I have an umpire. He has a YouTube video with like 1 million hits out there.
James?
I'm not saying his name, but he has a.
It's one of my buddies.
He does a game called Lion, Tiger, Bear, and it's instead of flipping a coin, he creates mass confusion, and he basically picks who he wants to be the home team just because he's been around long enough. He knows who's gonna be ahead and usually can get a half inning shorter game. But yeah, it's just. That's a little secret that we have internally. It's just we just shake our head at it. Okay. Yeah.
That's funny.
Lion, Tiger, Bear. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you see an umpire once. We're gonna play Lion, Tiger, Bear. Yeah, you know what's up. He has a feeling he thinks he knows who the better team is.
Fair enough.
So, and it's just a little trick of the trade. That's just from hearing the guys talk and
right.
Up in the crow's nest, and it's like you just shake your head. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Don't tell. I don't want to be responsible.
I don't.
For this.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't. Yeah.
On that note, it's coming up on time, guys. So
Okay.
You want to stay or you want to go?
I mean, I'm not going anywhere. There's games being played, so I'll be here all night.
You want to run another one?
Let's close out and we'll talk.
Let's do it. All right. Coach Lance, you want to close this out, please?
Sure.
tell us all where they can find us.
All right, check us on Podbean. It's going to be on coachablecast.podbean.com. You can find us at our webpage on coachablecast.com. Our shows our podcasts are up on there too. We do have some videos on YouTube. It's more like audio on YouTube, but you can find it there too.
Don't forget about iTunes. We're on iTunes.
Yep. And
wherever you find podcasts, we're going to try to get on a couple more. So
we'll be out there.
Also,
check us out on Facebook.
Joe Boo, sorry, love you, miss you.
I got that posted.
Also, I would put a plug in for JP for anybody who's listening.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Radio professional, go ahead.
Definitely, if you're a coach, parent, and you want to be in an awesome tournament, I can say my kids, I'm playing in all JP tournaments this year.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I love them. I think they're great, and I'm really glad that you're doing it, and you're doing it here. It makes it awesome for us. So even if you're out of town, especially if you're out of town, come down and do a JP Sports tournament. You're crazy if you don't.
There.
Well, and
good stuff.
I will say, like, I have a newfound respect for the tournaments that we're doing after this conversation. It's been great for me personally. So
absolutely,
I do appreciate the conversation. Hopefully, we can keep you for one more.
I only do it. I only play JP because of Heath.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. I hear that all the time.
Is there anything you would like to plug?
No, thanks for it's great you guys are doing this. I mean, it really is. I think a lot of this, there's a lot of uncomfortable. I mean, you're dealing with people's pride and joys. It's a lot of uncomfortable conversations to be had, and I'm glad it could be lighthearted and good time, and talk about Jabu and kids holding guys on a third, and make it fun. And I mean, like I said, it makes it's a good conversation. It's great to be out in this farm. So thank you guys for what you guys do.
Absolutely. It's
Pleasure
our pleasure.
having you.
Thank you very much.
But thanks
for listening, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Later.
Later.